this is Mac with Mac Sarah 29, and I have here an ECX Ruckus. It's a 1/10 scale two-wheel drive monster truck. They used to be known as Electrix, but now they call themselves ECX. They have several two-wheel drive entry-level trucks and buggies on the market. They have a Boost, which is a buggy, Circuit, which is a stadium truck, the Ruckus, and then they have the Torment, which is a short course truck. The Ruckus and the Torment both share the same chassis design, so it's a basic layout. All the trucks come stock brushed. They all come stock with this 20-turn brushed motor and a 12-turn brushed speed controller that does not have low voltage cutoff if you want to run LiPo. They all come with this Tamiya connector, Rolex connector, and this 1800 milliamp nickel metal hydride 7.2 volt battery with the Tamiya Molex connector. It also comes with this 300 milliamp hour wall charger, plug it right into the wall, 120 volt, and charges at 9 volts, 300 milliamp, which would be about a 6-hour charge on this battery, 300 milliamp hour battery. My math might be a little off, but I'm probably pretty close. Either way, so I'm going to do some comparisons with some other vehicle brands, mostly Traxxas, because that's my biggest competitor right now in the market. And so I'll go over some positive, negatives, and who's it's designed for. So first I'll start out with who is it designed for. It is designed for entry-level, younger aged people who want to get an RC, maybe have never driven an RC before, or they've driven toy grade RCs like from Walmart, Toys R Us, places like that. And if you're used to that style of car, you know, the $30 to $100 range, you know, Tyco, New Bright, whatever cars, and you're there and you're looking at one of those that costs, you know, between $50 and $100, and you're thinking those are pretty cool. Those cars slow. This is 18 miles an hour out of the box, which is slow for this style, which is way faster than anything you're going to get at Toys R Us. It also, if you break it, you can fix it, and the parts are relatively cheap, and at the price point of a little over $100, it's not that much more money for what you get. So if that's your market, I would save up a little more money, and I would get something like this. I'm not saying get this. I would look at, you know, Traxxas, Electrix, one of those brands. This is a great truck for something like that. If you want to keep this thing stock and brushed, you will have a great time with this if that's what you're expecting. 15 to 20 miles an hour is pretty darn quick when you're not used to driving an RC car around. And if you, like I said, if you had one of those Tycos or New Brights and you've been driving those, this is pretty fast. So beyond that, if you're a pretty more experienced hobbyist, this might be a little bit too boring for you. For someone like me who's had lots of different vehicles, this is pretty fun, but it does leave a lot to be desired for me. I mostly got this. I wanted to A, try it out, B, I thought my kids would be able to drive it a little bit better. I could just hand them the radio, and that's one thing, reason why I got it. I was like, hand them the radio. It doesn't go fast enough out of the box to really get destroyed. So, comparing it to the Traxxas Stampede. A Traxxas Brush Stampede comes with the XL5 waterproof speed controller, the Titan 12-turn brushed motor, and the waterproof servo. This is not waterproof as of yet. There's a newer version of this coming out that's more expensive. It's almost $200. It's all waterproof electronics, and it has a different radio, 2.4 gigahertz radio. This is probably not, the Traxxas one's probably a little bit faster. The Stampede has bushings, not bearings at the wheels. This has bearings throughout the kit. The Traxxas has bearings in the transmission. So does this one. The Traxxas has a metal gear transmission and it's brushless already. This comes stock without metal in the transmission. It is plastic geared inside. And if you want to go any hotter on the motor, go brushless or anything like that, you will strip out the gears. I did. And so that's something you'll have to consider. But one of the things, and then also all four wheels on this have the same offset, meaning that they all have the same indent here as far as where the hexes grab the wheels compared to the center line of the wheel. And Traxxas vehicles, the front ones are different than the back, so if you want to replace your wheels and tires, you have to buy completely separate wheels for the front and the back, and you can't swap them back and forth without goofing up your width here. So that's one thing I like about this, they're interchangeable front to back. As far as the shocks and all the other plastic components that are stock on this, between this and the Stampede, they're kind of the same. So the big plus Traxxas has is brushless ready, waterproof, and a lot of aftermarket support. This is not brushless ready, it's not waterproof, and doesn't have a lot of aftermarket support. But it doesn't need a whole lot if you keep it stock or relatively close to being stock. So Traxxas Stampede is $230. This is $130. Traxxas Stampede also comes with a 27 megahertz AM radio. This one, when I got it, came with a 2.4 gigahertz radio. So for $100 more than this, if you really want waterproof, it might make the difference for you. A $20 upgrade on the transmission would make that more equal, you know, taking the waterproofing off the table. And then other than that, the one big beef that I heard about even before I got this was the shafts on this truck are super weak. Even with the stock motor, you will twist them up fairly quickly. I think I got about 5 or 6 battery packs through it before it started to wear out. I run LiPo. I never even bothered with the stock battery. If you lift the stock battery in there, you would probably not run into that problem near as quickly. But as soon as you go LiPo or any kind of like better battery, or even the 15-turn motor you can buy for this, you can buy a 15-turn motor for relatively cheap. Makes it go quite a bit faster. You'll probably rent those shafts. You can buy the Traxxas Stampede Rustler style half shafts, and those slight modification can make those fit. And I'll just say right now, if you want to learn more about any of the modifications I talk about doing to this, I've learned all about these at ultimaterc.com. Go to the website, search the ECX or Electrix forum pages on any of these vehicles, and there's threads about guys talking about how to make these things more durable. So, just a little plug for that website. I'm not affiliated at all with that website. So, other than that, the only other things that I really don't like about this truck is the front bumper is pretty weak. It's this little web thing that holds the bumper on the front. I've took an old E-Firestorm bumper and kind of modded it to make a little plate to hold this bumper on. It'll just flop down if it's not screwed across right here. And any little impact at all, that thing just taco shells and it's worthless. T-Bone or RC, they make a bumper for this. They make bumpers for lots of different trucks. They make one for like 12 bucks that'll fit on here. Probably a good idea if you're going to go anything more than this stock motor. Or you're not a very good driver and you run into lots of things. This one here I face planted at a skateboard park. That's what did this. So, basically, to kind of get back to that, if you run this stock or just a slightly upgraded motor and you put in the metal transmission and the Traxxas half shafts and don't do anything else with this kit, it's really fun to drive. It handles really well. It's got a long wheelbase. It's fairly durable at the at speeds of around 25 miles an hour, and you can jump it. You can watch my videos, to see how kind of terrain I'm driving it on. Just some good old normal RC fun, out in the dirt, small jumps, nothing too crazy, stuff like that. This thing will hold up just fine. I have a Castle 3800 brushless motor here now, which is way overkill for this, but just playing around with some stuff. I did get a take-on 2848 finned motor. It was a 2700 kV. I was gearing a stock spur with an 18-2 pinion, and I was getting like 25 miles an hour out of that thing. Temperature was pretty good. 25-minute run times on this battery, and LiPo by G-Force, pretty good battery, and running great. You know, hardly ever broke it or anything like that. But I take it to off some pretty serious jumps or anything, strip the spur gear. Bad landings on the back, strip the spur gear. The spur gears, the stock ones, will strip very easily if you do anything, you know, jump on anything higher than, say, maybe like 4 or 5 feet off the ground, landing on the back end on any kind of hard surface. I've taken it to the skateboard park, and these things aren't made to be brushless at a skateboard park, as far as I'm concerned. I've taken it there twice. I lasted 2 minutes, stripped a spur gear. Another fixed the spur gear, broke the front bumper, broke a, I don't think I got 10 minutes of driving before I broke the bumper, stripped the spur gear, and broke one of the front knuckles, steering knuckles. So, if you want to do any kind of hardcore bashing where you're going to be jumping it, you know, 6 to 8 feet in the air, put some high power brushless motor, anything like that, it's fine, it'll be fun, but you're going to have to be doing some upgrades, you're going to have to be doing some repairs, you're going to have a lot of spare parts on hand to fix it. It will not handle that, it will break. So other than that, you know, just understand what you expect out of an RC car and what you want to do with it, and if that's something that you want to, you know, if you want to go extreme or anything above that, then, or, you know, above normal, just tromp around in some dirt, grass, and, you know, little small jumps. This is great. If you want to go above it, you're going to break it. Just be prepared for that. So basically, I don't remember if I alluded to or not, they're coming out with the newer versions of these. All the trucks are coming with waterproof electronics. The Ruckus, the Torment, the Boost, the Circuit, they're all coming with waterproof electronics. They're on their webpage, ECXRC.com. And when I got this, they had this limited edition. You got this Spectrum DX2E radio, 2.4 gigahertz, and the versions before that had a cheesy 27 megahertz AM radio, and all the other trucks came like that up until just recently, other than the Torment. The Torment always came with this radio, and from what I've seen, they're doing away with this radio on all their kits, and the 27 megahertz radio on all their kits, and they're going with a different 2.4 gigahertz radio. I haven't quite seen all the specs on it, but it's a different radio. But it's 2.4 gigahertz. It's probably fine. It's just not this or the other version. Like I said, so they're all waterproof, and I believe the Ruckus and the Torment are going to come with a 15-turn motor at stock, and then the Circuit and the Boost are going to come 20-turn stock. So, something to consider. The price does jump up quite a bit. I think they're starting at between $150 and almost $200 now, and now all the trucks are between $100 and $150, I think now. So something to keep in your mind when you start pricing out what other trucks will cost. One bonus for me with this truck is my local hobby store carries all the parts for this. They carry this truck. And so it's easy for me to get parts, and they're pretty cheap. So some of the modifications I've done the metal transmission upgrade, I've done the Traxxas VXL shafts. I did change out the shock oil to 40 weight, which is a little bit too thick for these shocks. I think 30 or whatever, I think they're 25-30 stock, something like that. That was actually perfect for the style of driving this thing's going to be doing. I think it's over dampened now. I have a Castle SV2. It's actually the Castle short course speed controller off the short course 3800. That's actually that kit, the short course 3800 kV motor with the Castle system. That's the same thing as the SV2. The Sidewinder, the Sidewinder SV2. So I have that in here, and I had that with that take-on motor. I just put the 3800 kV motor in there, and just wanted to see how it would handle it and everything. I was probably going to blow these half shafts out pretty fast, but I just wanted to have a little bit of speed runs with it and stuff. And then this doesn't fit, get the gear cover back on. I actually have, a long time ago I did this brushless conversion from an HPI MT2, and I had bought this 60-tooth metal spur gear from Robinson Racing, and I actually got it to fit on there with now the 32 pitch. It's 32 pitch, and I got a 32 pitch 12-tooth pinion gear on there, and I haven't really had a chance to run it like that yet because it's been raining. But I'm probably going to just end up getting the Team Associated has a like 56, 58, and 62 spur gears. Probably get like the 56 one. They're like the regular plastic ones for some of their nitro vehicles, I think. And with a slight modification, you can fit that on there, and that's what I'll probably end up doing to this. So that's something I'll be playing around with. Probably show some videos on that. And then the other thing, I have a different servo in here right now. It's a cheesy one, which is a little bit better than the stock. The stock one's fine, you know, but I just was trying something out. Another thing I did is on that Ultimate RC website, there's a guy, he put HPI E-Firestorm / Blitz front knuckles on, and I actually, when I broke one of the knuckles, I didn't feel like going and getting the hobby store and getting a new one, so I actually took the one off my Firestorm and put them on this, and without a lot of change, it fits. You have to get some turnbuckles for the what is it called? The toe in or whatever, right here on the back side. The stock ones will fit with this moving into a different hole, but the back won't. You'll have like massive toe in. So anyway, but that's not a big deal. I just robbed them once from the Firestorm too. And they're just, they actually are a little stronger. I like the way they screw together better. They get more threads on it. The stock ones, you hardly get any threads with those shoulder screws into those knuckles, and they tend to pop out. One I lost a screw, and then I broke something, and then the other one just like stripped out the threads in the nylon and popped out, and I lost it. So there's some stuff you could do to it. Another thing is, when I was looking at these, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh man, the body stinks, you know, a couple bad hits and just cracked all down the middle and stuff." So I don't know what they're hitting. But I've had Traxxas Stampedes. I've had the Slash 4x4, I've had the Slash 2-wheel drive, I've had the Stampede 2-wheel drive, I've had the Stampede 4-wheel drive, and all those bodies that come with those kits suck. And so when I got this, and I was like, oh, it's just going to be just like that, you know, just like those Traxxas ones or a lot of RTR ones where they're just going to shred in 2 seconds. But actually, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. I have like probably 30 battery packs for this thing, and starting to get a couple little cracks around the body holes here, but other than that, this thing's holding up just fine. I've had some tumbles and stuff, not super hard hits, but you know, just normal bashing around. That even my Stampedes and stuff have just ripped to shreds this back end just from normal bashing around, the jostling around, you know, jumps and stuff. And this thing's actually held up pretty well. So I'm not saying it's a great body. I'm just saying is, for those of you who have had bad experience with this body, I would say it's just comparable to any other ready-to-run 2-wheel drive or 10 scales type truck, and just kind of to be expected. And the other thing too is you can get 8-scale bodies to fit this for 8-scale vehicles, and it's that long. And if you look for like the Traxxas 2.5, the shorter wheel-based 8-scale stuff, those bodies will fit on this, and they're only like a couple dollars more than the 10-scale stuff, and they're a whole lot more durable than the 10-scale stuff. So that's kind of a nice thing when you start looking at aftermarket stuff on this truck. And then other than that, the wheels, the tires are actually, they're decent. They're ready to run. You know, they don't grip super great, but they do all right considering they're ready to run. And if you don't need super traction, you'll be just fine on any of your surfaces. Grass actually does really good. Dirt, they actually do really good. It's the pavement where they kind of don't quite do so great, but they're still better than the Traxxas Talons or whatever they are. I think those are crap. But so Some of the other things you gotta watch out for. Watch your screws. A lot of these screws are those self-tapping screws. They're not machined, and they like to back out of that nylon. Check your screws a lot. Make sure that you have a Phillips screwdriver on you. Yes, it's Phillips hardware, and just, you know, check all your screws often. Make sure that they're not backing out and getting lost. You can see a couple of them are loose on here right now. So check your screws. Get some spare parts if you're going to bash hard. Other than that, if you want to get something that's above toy grade, but you're not quite sure about spending, you know, $200-300 on something that's super fast, and you're not, you know, just want to get in slow, this is awesome for that. If you have some small kids, this is awesome for that. And if you have your nice, you know, 8-scale buggy that you like to race and bash and stuff, and your neighbor comes over and he's got like a teenage kid or whatever, and you're having a barbecue, and he sees your truck in your garage. He's like, hey, can I drive that? And you're like, no, but you can drive this. And worst thing he can do is about 10 bucks in damage. So anyway, that's basically my review of this. I didn't go over every single detail. There are other reviews out there that might go into more detail about the radio and stuff like that, but I think that the reputation of Spectrum kind of speaks for itself. Another thing I wanted to go over was the manual. It comes with the manual, well, the one I got, the X2E radio manual, which is fine. Goes over the basic stuff on the radio. And here is the manual. Boy, that looks pretty thick, doesn't it? And it is thick because it's in English, and it's in Dutch, and it's in French, and it's in Italian, and that's about it. So, what about 4 languages? So basically you got to flip from the front of the book to the back of the book, and everything in the middle is pretty much worthless to me because I don't speak any of the other languages. So it does give you your generic, you know, parts explosion. So what they got here is they got the parts explosion and how it built those together, and everything associated with the little number with the arrow to the part. And then on this other page is an index that has the number of that part, and then it gives you a cross-reference to the name of the part and the part number that you can look up on, you know, ask your hobby store, or go to horizonhobby.com or whatever you want to get the part from. So, so a couple of things I don't like is when you buy some of these parts, they group some of the parts lousily together. Like, they'll group together the front C-hub with the rear hub carriers. So if I break the whole front assembly, I gotta buy the front C-hub, the rear hubs, the front C-hub carrier, front C-hub, the rear hub, and then I gotta buy a whole separate package to get the front knuckle. Why don't sell me the front C-hub and the front knuckle together, and then the rear ones as a set? Because there's no other assembly really goes with that. And then they throw in with one of those kits, I think the ones that come with the rear hub and the front C, they throw in like these 12mm hex adapters for the wheels that don't even go with this truck. They're like not the same design that fit these wheels. So that's kind of lame. At least they're not too expensive, but it's like $7 for the one part, and it's like another $2 for the other part. Either charge me $9, give me the whole kit, so I don't get home and realize I got the, I need to buy another piece, or break them up into smaller bags and sell them for cheaper or something. I don't know. And then they sell you the spur gear. It's $3 for the spur gear, and then they give you, every time you buy the spur gear, they give you the inner gears for the transmission, the old nylon set that you don't need if you upgrade to the metal one. So every time you buy spur gear, you're throwing away plastic. Just sell me the spur gear for $1 or $2 or whatever. Stuff like that. Little irritating, and to me it's wasteful to buy stuff you don't need. You get a bunch of oddball parts that don't break as often as the other parts do, and you end up tossing all this plastic in the garbage. So Electrix, ECX, I'm not a green freak, environmentalist, but that's wasteful, not only for people's money, but it's wasteful to the environment to be throwing plastic in the garbage that doesn't need to be thrown away. Make the parts that people need, group them together in a smart way, so when people buy the parts, they get the right stuff, and they're getting the stuff that they only need to what they broke. Just makes good business sense and good environmental sense. Like I said, I'm no tree hugger, but that's just dumb. Another thing I don't like about